A few days back, we reviewed the Explorer 1000 V2 from Jackery and mentioned that we've been using the Explorer 300 for our smaller weekend runs. We also said we'd share our thoughts on it. And, well, here it is. Now, this Jackery Explorer 300 hits a sweet spot for people who do not need a big setup to lug around every time they camp. It's compact, lightweight, and packs just enough juice to keep your essentials up and running. It has a 293 watt-hour battery, multiple ports, and decent fast charging capabilities. We've taken it through a fair mix of use cases, and in this review, we'll share our experience with the Explorer 300, what worked, what didn't, and whether the price feels justified after real-world use. Let's get into it. Now, it has this boxy shape that looks very small, feels quite sturdy to hold without any rattles or anything, and nothing that gives off a cheap impression. In our opinion, the build quality holds up well for a unit this size, especially for the kind of short trips or weekend setups it's clearly designed for. Here, you can see the Explorer 1000 V2 and the Explorer 300 side by side, so that you can understand their size comparison. Now, for week-long campers, larger families, or high-demand setups, it's not going to check every box, and it's not trying to. But if you're the kind who camps solo or with one other person and just needs something light, portable, and dependable enough to power your basics, that 293 watt-hour battery gets the job done. We've used it to run a small fan through a warm night, kept a couple of phones and a Bluetooth speaker going, and still had charge left the next morning. It's not meant for heavy draw gear, and it's good to keep expectations in check. This isn't the box you reach for when you're trying to run a microwave or brew coffee off-grid. With 300 watts of output and a 500-watt surge, it's really tuned for the essentials: phones, tablets, cameras, smaller lights, and low-watt appliances. For that lane, it's well-balanced, and from what we've seen, it delivers exactly what it promises without fuss. One thing that stood out to us was how quick the Explorer 300 bounces back when it's time to recharge. Plugged into a standard wall outlet, it took about 4 hours to go from empty to full. That alone feels pretty reasonable for its size, but what really caught our attention was the dual input option. When we used the wall charger and USB-C port at the same time, it hit 80% in just around 2 hours. For a compact unit like this, we think that's solid. We also gave it a shot with Jackery's 100-watt solar panel on a clear day. And while solar always depends on conditions, it reached around 80% in a little over 3 hours. In our opinion, that kind of recharge speed adds real flexibility, especially when you're between campsites or just trying to top off while making lunch in the sun. It's the kind of performance that quietly makes a small power station feel a whole lot more capable. The port layout on the Explorer 300 feels like it was built with real-world use in mind. You get 2 AC outlets, a 12-volt car socket, 2 standard USB-As, and a 60-watt USB-C that's strong enough to charge most modern laptops straight off the unit. We ran this setup on a weekend trip, and at one point had every single port in use. Kids were charging their tablets, a small lantern was running in the corner, and a Bluetooth speaker, all without needing to unplug or reshuffle anything. It felt balanced, but without any headroom. Now, to be fair, this layout is pretty common for power stations in this size class, and for 1 or 2 people, especially on shorter trips, it's usually enough. But if you've got extra gear, radios, a GPS unit, or even just another set of lights, 1 or 2 extra ports wouldn't hurt. In our opinion, it's close to the sweet spot, but a couple more outputs would have made it a little more flexible for slightly bigger setups. There are a couple small things we noticed that might matter depending on how you plan to use it. For starters, it doesn't play all that well with third-party solar panels, unless you're okay fiddling with adapters or going the DIY route. Not a huge deal if you're sticking with Jackery gear, but still worth pointing out for folks who already have other panels lying around. Then there's the display. It's clear and easy to read, but there's a slight lag when you plug something in or out. It takes a second or two before the screen updates. Doesn't throw off anything functionally, just one of those, moments, we'd say. And yeah, it's got no flashlight. Not something we expected to miss, but after using other units that include one, it kind of stands out. That said, we usually pack a headlamp or two, so it's not something that ever left us hanging. We'd say it's more of a convenience thing than a flaw. Durability-wise, we've got no real complaints. Build quality feels solid without any rattles or loose connection. Jackery says you'll get about 500 full cycles before it dips to 80% capacity. We haven't hit that number yet, but from how it's holding up, we'd say that claim doesn't feel far-fetched. It's got that sturdy feel, not just in the casing, but in how consistent it performs after multiple charges and trips. This little unit really earns its keep in spots where you don't want to haul out big noisy setups. Just toss it in the trunk and you're covered. We've used it during unexpected blackouts, even powered a backyard movie night without breaking a sweat. It's light enough for just about anyone to carry, and you don't need to think twice about gas, fumes, or startup noise. For off-grid trips or simple backup power, we'd say it quietly pulls more weight than you'd expect from something this size. Now, if you're just comparing numbers on a spec sheet, yeah, you'll spot a few cheaper options with similar figures. But once you start actually using these things out in the wild, the picture shifts. It's not just about watt hours and port count. It's about how easy it is to trust it when you're out of signal, off the road, and need stuff to just work.
In our opinion, Jackery's still got that edge. They've been around, and this Explorer 300 really hits the mark for folks who want compact power without feeling like they're hauling a brick. Reliable, simple, and built for people who'd rather spend time enjoying the outdoors than fiddling with gear. So that was more or less everything about the Jackery Explorer 300. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section down below, and share this video if you find it helpful. And to know more about outdoor products, reviews, and buying guides, you can visit our website, GoOutdoorZone.com.